Hi there, this is Michael Andre Ford, your American Angel Intuitive, with a talk that might sound self-help, career, business related. It's all about success, how to get there. We could be talking really anything, job, career, sales if you're a salesperson making those calls or doing meetings and you want to get a lot more yeses. It could be just what we all go through. We're wondering what to do next in life. It could be just simply where we live, relationships, soulmate, finding the next love of our life, letting go of particular events that have happened in the past. It could be a death in the family. It could be a health issue. A lot of stuff that we're involved with or consumed with, it's thinking. And so this talk today is about doing 7% less of something, and you've already gotten a hint at what that is. And we're talking about 7% less thinking daily or weekly. It doesn't really matter. But a little bit less thinking is one of the key ingredients to go in any direction in life that you wish to go. The other is just basic listening. Now, both of these suggestions might seem very, very obvious. But the irony here is it's something that none of us, or very few of us, actually do or want to participate in if we're up here. The ego, our thinking, our psyche, our resistance to change, our knowing that locks us into certain situations the way the world has to be. That knowing precludes possibility. It precludes the very change that we say we want to go through in order to have a better outcome, in order to have a better experience in life, whether, again, it's a job, relationships, health, better health, living in a more fun atmosphere with more fun friends or greater relationships or a more loving partner or a soulmate. So there's something that goes on up here, and there's something that happens when you're here. Now, we've all tasted it, whether we acknowledge it or not. We've all experienced this, at least when we were a kid, when we were an athlete, out on the tennis court, out on the soccer field or pitch. When we let go as an artist, as a musician, and we let it fly. It could be a golf ball swing. Hole in one. So there's some sort of dynamic that our thinking, our control factor, our seriousness, our desire to resist or react to other people, our desire to get into ideological groups and to judge others and to judge ourselves and then to tell others how to behave or to tell ourselves how to behave. That all detracts from what happens when you're here, which is just a connection to all there is. Now, indigenous peoples all over the globe have figured this out eons ago. And you figured it out when you were a kid. You figured it out at certain points in your life where you're a little less serious and just enjoying the flow of what's happening. And those are some of the happiest times because life and living life and experiencing life and being completely successful at everything you touch has absolutely nothing or very little to do with what goes on up here. So this is going to be a tough and easy reminder to relax more, love more, laugh more, smile more, let go more, and be here more. And I'm going to get to the details on what you can do to actually achieve more, and yes, externally as well. But the most important thing to remember is you're not alone, that most of the narrative going on in your head isn't exactly the way it really has to be. It limits possibility. It locks you in to a restricted flow of your own energy. It's a little bit like the dental floss that was the life force energy of Scrooge, if you remember the Christmas Carol movie, whether it's the Disney animated one, the old black and white one from the 1950s, or just the book that was 79 pages. That poor guy was so cut off from life that he was only about one thing, money. He made himself miserable, he made everybody else miserable, and he was easily judged and condemned by almost everybody. What we also forget, because we're human, and humans are extremely limited right now at this juncture, we have so much room for more awareness, more compassion, more gentleness, kindness, more fun, and more success in any direction we want to go. So that most of us have judged Scrooge, and we only remember him as the cranky, mean old guy, and we forget that by the end of the book, no more than 3 minutes of dream time during that dream sequence with the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future, and no more than a few days of putting it into practice, he becomes the most, you could say, learned, the most wise, the most compassionate, the most joy-bringing, or joyful character we've ever met. And he still does good business. So what's that all about? He got out of dental floss mode, being cut off from life and other people. Everything is interconnected. The person that you hate the most, you're absolutely connected to, and it's a tough thing to accept. If you're of one political party persuasion and you don't like the other, that's generating negativity unnecessarily. We'll put it a different way so you feel better about this. Wasting energy. We're all going to do it for the rest of our lives. The person who figures out to waste this amount of energy less is going to be the big winner. And by winner, I just mean getting to their heart, smiling more, enjoying life more, being at peace more, taking a breath more, noticing sunsets, sunrises. And it's that awareness that will drive their business practices. It's their awareness, their presence that will attract other people into whatever situation they want to have develop. It could be, again, relationships, health, soulmate stuff, living in a new place with a much broader, amazing community. So there's something to all these dynamics. And what I still haven't gotten to was the universe. You don't have to worry about the how on how to get to any place that you want to go. You want to be a best-selling author. You want to be a top painter. You want to have this career or that career. You want to live in this geographical location or be able to afford a home in that geographical location. You want to be a best-selling author. You simply want to be better in your relationships, your communications with others. You want to feel more satisfaction in how you're rolling daily with your own energy. You want to be able to embrace love more and love others more. You want to become a more accepting, gracious person. Who knows? It all starts in the same spot, your heart. And the good news is you have all the skills in the world right now. It doesn't require an outside expert, Tony Robbins, Deepak Chopra, anybody like that. Now, they've all brought us the concept of awareness, so let's show gratitude and thank them profusely. And you don't need any institutes out there, but go to all the institutes, 1440, Omega Institute, you name it, Alternatives UK, attend their seminars, watch their online videos and everything else. Read all the books, Don Miguel Ruiz, Carolyn Mace, Anita Morjani. Thank you for the testimonial, the book testimonial for that. Read those books. They may get you started. They may jumpstart something where you have your aha moment and realization. Because none of this is about words, concepts, what you must do externally. That's all usually more constructs. It's about letting go of whatever way you're trying to force or view the world. It's about going with the flow the way you did as a 6, 7, 10-year-old, 12-year-old kid. It's about having the awareness of a newborn baby. That's compassion. That's one of 400 definitions how you could describe compassion. Being one with life, appreciating all, allowing more, loving more, breathing more, being in harmony with all there is. How about all there is instead of all? It's at that point when you're in your heart that you get reoriented. The universe comes in, embraces you a little bit more. You know this from athletics when you're in the zone and you're simply participating in the sport and you're having one of the best days in your career or the season you've ever had. You know it in yoga when it was no effort, but the class was really tough. You might even have sweated less. You just simply got the moves done and there was a creative flow. That's the universe. That's the universal life force or energy or the force from Star Wars. Yoda had it down. But let me give you an example of why this isn't about words. Yoda always said, no try. And yet Archangel Gabriel has said in the last 6 or 7 years, always try. And they're both correct. There's a duality here on Earth that allows for both of those statements to be equally correct or applicable in the same moment. It has to do with the energy behind the words. The words are simply gloves put on energy that you use to either hug or slap others or yourself. By that I mean a certain type of energy coming out of here is negativity. It might only be 1% of 1% or sort of neutral, but a lot of it is actually judging, reacting, fear, stress, worry, knowing something, the preclusion of possibility, where you put another person in the box. You don't know that they're not going through extra duress or difficulty. You're showing no sympathy or compassion or sending them the energy from here, love, unconditionality, that would help them on their own journey. We're all on our own personal, unique life journeys. And so again, the fundamental step is to realize that there's something going on here and there's something going on up here. And there's a lot of groups, there's a lot of organizations over thousands of years or just over decades that have an interest in telling you how it is and to put labels on what goes on up here and what goes on here. Now, there's 1,000 ways to describe the heart: consciousness, unconditional love, awareness, positivity. You get the idea down here. No limits. How about that? And then limits, conditionality, conditional love, judging, knowing to the preclusion of possibility, reacting, and so on. It's why people are mean. It's why people limit themselves. It's why people think they can't do something. You actually have no limits. But we're human. We tend to get in our own way. We tend to let others get in our way. We tend to get in others' ways. And welcome to human nature. And so here's the opportunity. It's just to pump the brakes 7% more each week. And by that, I mean doing 7% less thinking each day, each week. I think that works out to 2 hours and 10 minutes. I haven't pulled out a calculator in a couple of years on this, so I'm guessing. But by that, I mean, try to do something that gets you out of your head. It could be anything. Take an extra shower, go for a walk, hug a tree, sit on the lawn, read a book, do a yoga class, cook, make a dish where you're using your hands. Could be painting, playing a sport. Anything you can do to get out of what you know and to get out of routine, to get out of tasks, to get out of unconsciousness, where you start to breathe more. You're breathing the irony and back to duality, the concept. You're breathing 24/7, obviously. But are they breaths that get you all the way to your toes? Are they the golden breath that Buddha or Buddhists talk about? Is it actually letting go so that you're at harmony or interconnectedness or one with all? Not usually. And for a lot of people, we can go through decades where the only good breath or semi-good breath we took was in the doctor's office during a physician's visit when we're getting that annual checkup. They say, take a breath. It's the first time we've taken a big breath in a long time, unless there's some sort of shock to the system. So again, what I'm trying to get back to is it's in front of you like this. And we have blinders on. And those blinders preclude the possibility of us seeing just how easy life is, how simple, how quickly we can return to a fantastic life. It's Plato's cave, or I like the jail cell analogy. Now, I'm still getting to what the universe can do for you and how it's already helping you one way or the other, whether you know it or not. But the jail cell metaphor is you're in jail. And we're borrowing again from Plato's cave, the metaphor and so on that's been around for thousands of years. You're in a jail cell for pretty much every situation, holding onto the barred window, looking out, and you're wishing you could be somewhere else. In this entire time, you've never looked back to see that the jail door, the cell door, is wide open. No one ever locked you in. You locked yourself in. You never looked back and realized, hey, I can just step out. And there are other prisoners at other windows doing the same thing. And even if you went outside and started to experience the freedom, and this is Plato's metaphor again, and you went back in to tell other people they could let go of the bars on the window, they could exit their own cells anytime they want, you'd probably be clubbed to death. That was part of his metaphor. So skipping that violent part, something that I have noticed in 10, 11, 12 years of doing this, I do something very special for folks. You really can't tell anybody anything. It's just part of the human nature thing. First of all, people react to the concept that, hey, there are really no limits. They also react to the concept that you can have more love in your life immediately. Anytime you want to start loving more and allowing more, you can get started in this very moment. It's back to the phrase, you can be happy now in this very moment for no reason whatsoever. Now that flies, and it gives us a headache. It flies in the face of every situation any of us have ever faced or been in. My situation is I have 16 kids. You don't understand. My situation is I've got $2 million in debt. You don't understand. So we have these situations that are definitely external, very real, could be very much on paper, and we're suffering greatly. Buddhists talk about it. Every religion, every philosophical group, every self-help group, every woo-woo-woo or spiritual group talks about this. But the second you let go of the details is the second you begin to start living again. And if you can trust me on one thing, the universe will step in and give you an assist. For everything around you and within you is your instruction. And all you have to do is start paying attention this much more. Pay attention when you can remember to remember, if you can remember to remember. And that's one of several of the secret tips or steps that I'm trying to mention in this video. Anytime you want, you can be happy now in this very moment with no reason whatsoever, independent of the list of reasons why you can't possibly be happy. That's all egoic thinking. The second you realize what egoic thinking is versus what actual unconditional love is, you're off to the races. You can't put that genie back in the bottle. And speaking of genies or jinn or elemental, besides meeting angels and your relatives, which is what I do for folks, you can meet a jinn who's East Asian mysticism. He's like the Energizer Bunny meets the Encyclopedia Britannica. And where I'm going with the whole concept of the universe is, the universe isn't some abstract concept. Sure, it's energy. Sure, there's constant expansion. Sure, there's lots of change, and we've all felt lots of change, for better or for worse, but the stuff that's the hard change often turns out to be very positive. When we look back, a lot of it just makes sense. When we lost a job or left a job suddenly, when something happened over here and another window opened of opportunity and we went in a new direction, which allowed for all the unfolding for the next 10 years and brought us to an entire new set of circumstances. So what I'm here to remind you about is that there's infinite possibility, infinite love available automatically within. It doesn't have to be based on external people or situations. And I'm not trying to get away from the idea that, hey, everyone has specific like wish lists or what they think they should be doing. And some of it's very direct, very concrete, very certain. You're excited. You're passionate about going in some of these directions. You can do it. The universe is far bigger than we're ever going to grasp. But if you could picture it as a cheerleading squad for you, or universal forces are in place to help you out. I don't remember if that's Esther Hicks and Abraham Hicks, or it's from The Alchemist, Paulo Coelho's fable or metaphor allegory with the kid who goes on search and out into the desert in search of his personal treasure. What a beautiful short story that is. Probably even a little bit better than A Christmas Carol. That hidden treasure is actually your heart. It's the journey you need to take. For some people, it's multiple lifetimes before they'll get to here. You had it as a kid, but the second you started adulting and taking yourself too seriously, or taking others too seriously, or taking that certain type of job too seriously, is the second all hope, faith, fun, love, possibility evaporated because you were so constricted you're down to dental floss. You're all about the career and paying the bills and your responsibilities and those duties and everything else. And that's okay. That's how you're spending your energy. You're going to spend your energy how you spend your energy. Here's the news that if it's from the neck up, if it's thinking, if it's judging, it's the tight control, you just know what you know and there's no room for learning, that's technically a waste of energy. You'll figure that out at some point. The last breath on some people's lives is when they get their life flashing before their eyes and they get the realization of what love was versus the way they were rolling on certain stuff. You're only living when you're in your heart. You can do a quick litmus test. Try to remember for an hour a day as you go through your day. 5 minutes here, a minute there, 30 seconds there. Give a hug to your dog. Take a break out of work and look at the clouds. Do a minute, 30 seconds here or there. Nobody is going to count living in life as looking at your cell phone, unless it's an angel photo on your cell phone and you're asking a question, getting an answer. And this is where I'm going with the whole big universal spiel. There's a huge waste of energy going on up here. You're going to continue to waste energy up there no matter what you did. You can't become enlightened and ditch thinking altogether. Period. It's just not in the cards for humanity right now. But you can do a little less thinking. And you can actually lighten up a lot more and start spotting when you don't feel so hot, when you're being too serious, and you can lighten up. What a great expression. It comes from somewhere. There's a lot more sparkliness to you when you're in your heart, because when you're in your heart, again, you're connected to all in life. You're enjoying the sports that you're playing. You're enjoying making the meal. You're enjoying dancing to your favorite music playing in your living room. You're petting your dog. You're taking a shower and whistling in the shower. You're just being creative. So all of this is a reminder that there's something that goes on here and there's something that goes on up there. And so as soon as you recognize the difference between awareness or consciousness and unconsciousness or negativity or ego or psyche or just wasting energy, you're off to the races. You can't put that genie back in the bottle. It's like touching a hot stove. And for some of us, maybe as a kid, it took 2 times to touch the hot stove before we said, ouch, that's hot, I'm never going to do that again. Once you've learned the difference, and this is something that most of us just aren't even aware of, we go through the slog of life. We think stuff happens to us. We think we don't have any control in another sense of the events coming our way. And we also think we're very limited in what directions we could want to go. So once you figure out there's something going on here that feels good, and there's something going on up here that doesn't feel so good, again, you're off to the races. Because the bigger thing is, once you've figured out this, think of it as an undergraduate degree, you can get your master's degree. The universe will step in and show you your unique life path. Call it your personal treasure if you want here. Your awareness expands enough that you realize, hey, I only have to pay attention this much to figure out my next step. If you want to look at this as a marathon and you're going to be a world-class marathoner, and here's the news, look down, you're already wearing the running shoes, you're already a world-class Kenyan runner. You're incredible. You just haven't been running that much. You haven't given yourself a chance to step out the door and even just go for a jog. You have that Kenyan shuffle even when you're not running at full sub-minute 5 pace. And so let me say it a different way. You have no limits in any direction you wish to go. You just have to be more aware of how you're spending your energy. And then you have to step in occasionally to live more, love more, allow more. And then here's the exciting part. The universe is, again, far bigger than you realize. There are a gajillion angels, all sizes, shapes, colors, all sorts of purposes, specialties, specialities. They're here to help. They're pure light, pure unconditional love. They don't want to interfere. Just like I don't want to go out and tell some stranger what they need to know to live a more fuller life. And here I am doing exactly that on a stranger video. But what I'm trying to say is when you interfere with somebody else's life, you're technically in one sense blocking their own ability to do their own listening, their own absorption, their own appreciation, their own allowing, and their own growing their own awareness. That's the beauty of life. Every single thing that's happening inside and out is their instruction. And so in any given moment, if it's a bridge or a poker hand analogy here, a lot of us moan, groan, complain, and say, oh, woe is me. I'm looking at my poker hand and they're very low numbered cards. It's not a flush, it's not a full straight, it's not a full house, any of that stuff. And what I'm trying to suggest is whatever the number is on the card, it can become an ace, and you can have multiple aces. You can break the game too. You can have 7 aces in 5-card Texas Hold'em. And here's why. You're not limited by the reality that you go by right now. It's, again, far bigger than we realize. You have angels, you have guides. Plato, Mary, Jesus, Muhammad, just loving, compassionate figures, all different vibrations. We're talking only the unconditional love, high, light end of things, who are ready to step in and help. You're already getting that help unofficially to make sure you're supported. You're never alone. You can hear those figures full on, all languages spoken, all dialects. You can get any answers to any questions anytime you want. You just have to be willing to do a little listening, which means going full stop. You have to be open. You have to be here. You have to be able to go still, which is full stop. And you have to be able to do basic listening. Think of it as watching TV these days. Most people who watch TV can't do so without an iPad or an iPhone within 2 feet of them. And they're either checking periodically or they're on their phone the whole time with the TV playing in the background. They don't do full attention or undivided attention. And that essentially is all we're talking about for all of this. If you simply slow down enough to be in your heart, to be in the moment, to be able to do undivided attention, you're going to figure this out very quickly. So imagine what it means to have any answer to any question, any language spoken, any dialect, and one more factor. You also hear everything just the way you need to hear it. If I took 1,000 astrophysicists and I lined them up, not only could they be from different countries needing to hear answers in different languages, they all think differently. They all have a different value system. They're all speculating in different directions, so none of them are quite the same. Therefore, when they get their answers, it could be the same question, 1,000 different astrophysicists asking the same question, but they're all coming at the question in a sort of a different context or a different approach. And they also suspect that the answer lies in completely different quadrants than the person next to them asking the same question. Well, guess what? Angels just know where you're at. They know where you're at on the curve in life, or in the flow of life, or on the path in life. And they know how to answer you just right. I can't explain it, but think of it as a vibration that comes in that just is pure love and that fills the gaps. It speaks Japanese. If you happen to be from Japan, you need your answers in Japanese, you hear Japanese. If you're from India, it's Telugu or Hindi. You get the idea on this. So for 10, 11, 12 years, thousands of folks have been getting their answers directly. They've been getting hugs. The hugs can become healing. And they've been able to see full on, out the door, looking in your backyard, across the street, 20 houses away. And they've been able to do it in groups. So if you own it solo, listening, getting hugs and seeing, and you got a cousin or a friend or a sister and you're getting along and they just got it all done on their own, you can pair up and you can hear jointly. You can get hugs jointly, feel compassion coming in, light. A lot of crying, a lot of yawning, a lot of letting go, a lot of thinking that builds up over time. Why do you think people get ill? Why do you think they, let loose on other people in a not so nice way? So the universe is far bigger than we realize. Angels, guides, religious, non-religious figures, Plato, Marcus Aurelius, Gandhi, Mother Teresa, St. Francis, Vishnu, Krishna, Ganesh, Meher Baba, Rama, Sri Kaleshwar, Sai Baba. They're just here to help. You only have to put yourself out there. And where's the there? Here. And how long do you need? 5 seconds. Drop to your heart. Get out of what you know. Take a breath. Smile. Laugh. Do a little jig. Do a dance. Put your music on. Stretch. Yawn. Say a power word, a mantra. There's a million ways to get out of what you know and into the moment, which is the heart. The heart's already fully connected to everything that ever was. It already knows what to do for all of this. The heart has probably fallen asleep listening to me right now, but the brain's going to fight this the whole way. The brain is the single thing holding you back from any direction you want to go. You've got a value system. You've got a judging ability. You've got what you know that's fixed. Call it concrete thinking. Those are the only blocks to a fuller, more content, more action-oriented living. So you're an architect today, but you've always wanted to go in a completely different direction. Or you do X and you wanted to do Y. Or you're stuck in A and you want to go B. Or you haven't had enough relationships in this quadrant, on the soccer field, or dating, or anything else, and you want to go in a new direction. That growth only happens in one spot. It happens in your heart here. You have to get out of what you know. And let's use an Einstein quote. The consciousness or unconsciousness that spots a problem, or that says, my problem is, my situation is, you don't understand. The stuckness that you've gone through for 5 or 6 years, over and over again, telling the same story to anyone who'll listen, telling it to yourself, that stuckness goes away the second you switch how you look at your situation. Now we're into Wayne Dyer, and I'll finish the Einstein quote. But Wayne Dyer said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And Einstein said that solving a problem, that consciousness is not the same consciousness that spotted the problem. So it's unconsciousness that gets you stuck. Because everything truly is your instruction in every moment, every second of every day. But none of us are just wide open without thinking and are ready to go for the next step in life and are like, hurrah, let's do it. You can be that way, by the way, a very happy, very joyful, joy-bringing person. Look at Scrooge. He was the example of the pendulum, the furthest over, the least happy guy in the world, most miserable, miserly, condemning everything and everyone, to the opposite, the most again, joy bringing, but I have a feeling he did a lot of donations. He was very successful with business, even more. After this awakening, awareness, growing, whatever you want to call the realization that life just is. You just are. You have no limits whatsoever. You can go in any direction you want. Any. And so here's the big thing that I'm getting to. And I might have to tape a little 1-minute prelude for the beginning of this video, because here are some secret steps, or just steps you can take to go in any direction you want. Listen more. What does that mean? It means if angels are standing by, guides, even your relatives, Aunt Martha, or your great-great-grandmother you never met, but who's in the lineage and who loves you and who looks out for you all the time. Little things. Just helps you get a parking spot or pay attention and look over there, and you spot a cardinal on the tree last Tuesday, and it made your day. You didn't even know it. You just smiled and you relaxed more in your energy field. You expanded. Okay, you can ask any question, get any answer. And if you only asked one question for the rest of your life, this one would be the winner. What do I need to know next? That's it. If you only asked one question for the rest of your life, you'd lead the most fantabulous life ever. If you just asked that question, got your answer, and followed up 50% of the time. We're human. We make mistakes on everything. We waste energy all the time. We judge others even if we've met a dozen angels the day before. We're going to go back to thinking up here. We're going to go back to structure, rigidity, rejecting, reacting, knowing something to the preclusion of possibility. We're going to react to the news. We're going to react to this. We're going to react to that. We're going to react to our sports team having a horrible season, or any of the usual stuff. So the sooner you can spot when you're doing one flow, love, shiny stuff, sparkle, when you're making someone else's day, you're waving to a stranger and validating their existence. You don't even realize how much you're helping people when you do a little outreach, just a hello. You're not judging what their background is. Are they from Texas? Are they from California? Are they this? Are they that? Do they wear brown shoes? You only like the blue shoe people. This is what I'm talking about. If you took all the politics that you see on the TV shows and stuff like that and started to apply it to when you will wave and when you won't wave on the tennis court to a complete stranger, the golf course, as you go for a walk, you'd never again be kind or compassionate to anyone. You wouldn't pull over to help change a tire for the person who's stranded on the road. So there's something about humanity that's incredible and it's wonderful. And that's the possibility for more love and compassion. That spiritual awakening, the shift, the consciousness boost that so many people talk about. But it's not about words, concepts, or do this, do that, do this seminar, attend this institute, or follow this particular course of steps or action. That's generally just more egoic thinking. And you're going to figure that out as well. In fact, Seth, the 1970s Seth, a light being, Jane Rogers, I think, or Roberts, I forgot her name. She sort of was one of the founding people for the whole New Age concept in the 1970s. This light being gave us very good quotes, and one of them was, it's not going to be found externally. It's going to be found through your heart, through the world, the reality that you knew or know, that you thought was completely real with no room for maneuver, no room for change. You're choking because it's that tough. My situation is, my problem is. It's going to be found that and into a greater awareness, a greater reality. Joseph Campbell, you can meet Joe on the other side. Joseph Campbell in The Power of Myth talks about this quite plainly with Bill Moyers. I love those recordings. Get the audio CDs, play it in your car. Get Eckhart Tolle and listen to his voice, his presence. For those two, yes, it's about words, but it's also about what the energy is behind the words. So I'm going to go on a side tangent. I've got a little book called Listening to Angels. It's $4.99. It's a 15-minute read, 100% written by angels. Again, Anita Morjani was very kind to do a testimonial book review. It'll be the 10th year in 2024 that it's been out, and I'm hoping to revamp it. Just upgrade some photos, put an additional prologue in there, and maybe some extra material as well. But that, literally I saw balls of light as I was typing. And it's really gentle language. The most you really hear for structure in there is unconditional love, compassion. That's the big lingo. And it helps you meet 7 angels. They've stepped forward. I've gotten photos of angels in a panic because this is all quite a lot. Back in the old days, I grabbed a Sure Shot camera and started shooting sometimes 100, 200 photos in a day. I was seeing balls of light. I think I saw a streak go by at minute 28 in this video. You'll notice that I paused a couple times around 28:30. I'll highlight that later. I've gotten videos of angels too, so check that out from December 30th. That was Joy doing a flyby from the lamp over my head. I actually thought it happened in here. So there's multiple realities going on, but I saw light in between the screen and me. I would have failed any test if a set of professors or graduate students had come to quiz me afterwards. I would have never guessed it happened across the screen here behind me. I thought it was here. So look, here's the message. I'm enthusiasm, so forgive the high energy, the you can do it sort of attitude, but that's exactly what this is about. Any direction you want to go, anything, you're unique, you have a unique life path, discover that. But first you're going to have to just do a little letting go. Letting go of what you know long enough to realize it's not about the words, the details, the situation, the lost relative, the lack of compassion, the meanness experienced, the meanness given, the this about the workplace, the that about the workplace, that you're stuck over here, the debt, the health issue, anything else. It all has to do with, are you still breathing and are you still living your life at all? And the answer's got to be yes if you're listening and watching this video. Then you can get started anytime you want. And why not right now? Because there is no time and space quite the way you think. There's only one time, and that's right now. So if you learn to start owning the moment more, by that I just mean dropping to your heart, letting go, take a breath, take a smile, do a smile. There's 1 million ways to get into here and out of your thinking, that gel cell. The second you start practicing hitting your heart button, doop, 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 like Grogu in The Mandalorian and that robot when he's hitting the button and says yes, or he hits the button and says no. If anyone knows that show, you're laughing right now. You learn to hit your own heart button. It just creates a little space, a little presence. You're in the flow of life. You're experiencing love more. That's it. You shine. Do that a couple times in a day. Bravo. Do it 5 times in an hour. Oh my God. Do it 20 times in a week. Fantastic. We're talking 7% less thinking a week is the Olympic gold medal standard for being the most letting go, superb human being ever. And I probably didn't use the right adjectives there, but an angel named Charlotte will remind us all that 7% less thinking is the key on a daily or weekly basis. In any direction you want to go, it's simply one of the key ingredients. Pay attention more, let go more. Which way are you flowing? Did you catch yourself in traffic in LA when you were stuck, honking your horn and yelling through the windshield, even though they can't hear you and they don't even see you, yelling at that truck or car for cutting you off a mile earlier? Waste of energy. Figure out what a waste of energy is versus what real love is. What's true unconditional love support? The second you start discerning that, watch a million doors and windows in the universe open for you. Watch synchronistic events, incredible miracles, mini miracles, coincidences, where you put your focus, and it's where you put your focus is where you go. And that's a little bit of the law of attraction stuff, but we don't have to go into the law of attraction to talk the same way. How you flow your energy is how you flow your energy. What you're willing to let go of is what you're willing to let go of. Now, if it's love, that's all you are. You let go of love, you are love. It doesn't go away. It's a constant. So let's say everything a whole new different sort of way, but to hit the point here. Love is a constant. It never left you. It never shrunk. It never disappeared. The only thing that happened to pull you out of the full stream of love, full combat effectiveness, by the way, for career, relationships, for living your life to the max, is some thinking. So where are you detail oriented? What do you know in writing that you could spend 10 pages on? I have a legal pad over there. What do you know with 10 pages of writing that's a fact that you're stuck on? That's you. It's this way. My problem is, my situation is, but. Usually it's a but. Or I just spent all this time doing this. I don't want to let it go. What are you afraid to let go of? Who are the people that are triggering you? Who are the ones you're upset at? Those are all your opportunities for growth. Every single person around you is an arrow pointing in only one direction, back to your heart. Let go of what doesn't serve you, whatever energies that aren't helping you, and learn to only put your focus on the positive. Now, that doesn't mean there aren't tasks that you have to do. You got to sit down and write 10 checks in a row, and you're not excited. But there's plenty of people out there who will show you how to turn that into an act of gratitude that you actually have the cash and can write the check and change any situation into a more positive one, into a greater flow. So that's a whole act of gratitude, appreciation. Watch my new YouTube show, Angels, Positivity, and Love. It started January 22nd. The 14th episode dropped today. That's Sunday, April 23rd. That's with Joan of Angels. But almost every other expert on the show talks about growing your attitude of gratitude or using mantras or slowing down in life to appreciate what's going on in you or around you. The second you do that, it's one of the classic ways to get to your heart, to enjoy the treasure that's you. You've been given everything. And you've been given everything to do anything. And you've been given everything to do anything and go in any direction you wish. And good luck being a human being, believing anything that I just said, either in the last minute or the whole time in this video, because it's gonna sound like a foreign language. You still have ego, that inner voice that's not you. You're not your thoughts. You're not your ego. You're not your limits. You're not my problem is. You're not your situation is. You're none of that. You're far bigger than that. The game of ego is to convince you that it's necessary to have ego around, to have people to react to have problems, to have loss, to have pain, suffering, and that that's the way life is. Not at all. Not at all. You can choose to start flowing, acting, behaving in a broader way, in a more appreciative, allowing way. That's it. You can start immediately. Now, Peaceful Warrior, the movie, a gymnastics movie, is based on The Way of the Peaceful Warrior book by Dan Millman, is a beautiful way to start. I don't like to say it's any organization or non-denominational. There's a touch of Zen in it. It's really a gymnastics sports book in a lot of senses, but the poor gymnast, who's Dan himself, I think a late 1960s, but the movie was filmed in around 2005, 2006. Nick Nolte, Scott Mecklowitz, Amy Smart, beautiful cast, beautiful script. It's almost like a Disney film or an adult Karate Kid with a Mr. Miyagi figure, wipe on, wipe off. So it's like an adult Karate Kid film. It's the gas station attendant, Socrates. You never find out his name. He helps Dan get back to his center, get to his heart, embark on his journey, identify it, and get going. And I'm going to skip a lot of the details, but check out the movie. The deleted scenes are some of the best. And the book won't ruin the movie won't ruin the book. The book has got a lot more detail in it. It's fantastic. And you can fill up on Dan with his other books and his seminars and his classes and everything else. But at the end of the day, it's what are you putting into practice? What are you letting go of? What are the things you're holding on to first? And here's how I'm going to try to, now, if you've stuck around this long, you're going to get the goods. Angels can tell you where you're holding on to and suggest what to let go of, what doesn't serve. They can give you your next 5 action steps. You can only have so many action steps into the future before it becomes useless. You can really only take one step at a time. And you can really only be in one moment at a time. And all moments, if you're truly doing it right, in your joy, harmony, you're letting go, you're having fun, you're in the flow, all moments truly can start to become strung together and be the same. That's a crazy concept. I blow sage through 2 screens. On shows, on air, on my show, we've taped, I'm going to say 23 shows or so into July, I think, and we have 30 guests, and we've got another 30 people to approach starting next weekend. Looking forward to having an expanded guest list. And I blow sage to those people before they come on, like in the downtime before the show gets taped. Then I do it once or twice during the show, and then often after the show. And then we do more off camera, usually before and after the show, than we do on camera during the show. But I'll put a photo of an angel up. They ask and they listen and they hear just the way they need to hear, and they say the answer out loud. They look at that photo, they ask for a hug, they get a hug. Those hugs can become healing. Colorblind people have seen color. Some stuff's going to be written. Some people were meant to have this condition. It's what they signed up for. And it's not going to get alleviated in a big way, but maybe the shaking part of it can be reduced by 30 to 50%. That's a private conversation you have with your guides, your angels, your team, And I stay out of all the details. I try not to, I don't have to see anybody's questions or answers anymore. I used to go over all that like a decade ago. Instead, I have people choose a fruit or a vegetable to give to a particular topic. It's about the 5 cousins asking for money. It's about the business trip. Should I go on it? It's about the business venture. Should I partner up with those people? It's about personal stuff. How am I going to find my soulmate? I just ask you to pick a fruit: banana, papaya, squash, vegetable, watermelon. Each seed is about the cousin. And you pick the fruit. Angels know the topic that you're picking. You know the topic you're picking. I just hear watermelon. I stop right there. I make sure you get enough answers about watermelon that we can then move on to the next exercise. And so this is entirely direct. You almost kick me out of the way. I'm simply the happy-go-lucky person who's pointing out that you can tap what you've already got right here. So I'll show you your energy, auras, the flow of life, universal love, consciousness. Okay, say it a different way. I show you the force from Star Wars. I show you light on your hands. In India, they do it this way. You can see light, auras, chakras, whatever you want to call it. Universal life consciousness. Joseph Campbell mentions it in Power of Myth. But you can see light flowing between people. So again, if you took that sister that you're best friends with, you're getting along that day, you've met angels, you've seen your own light, you can each put up your hands and see the stream of light between your hands, or the flow as you do stuff together. And you can back up and see that flow of consciousness. And you can have angels come in and make you butterflies off the consciousness, or other structures or figures out of light. It's a lot to grasp. I wouldn't worry too much about that stuff. Just trust that you can have any answers to any questions at any level of detail. Let's go with the sales business example. Business people who are sales driven need to know who to call, what to say, and when to call. Wouldn't that be fantastic? Well, that's what angels are for. If you're willing to put yourself out there and just slow down this much, drop to here and do this much of basic listening, and do you know how to operate one of these, probably the most complex part of the whole process. I always suggest writing your answers down is good, because I never remember anything. But you don't have to have a pen and paper, and you don't have to have photos of angels. Once you've just done it once and owned it and trust it, you can be like, hey, Geronimo, are you there? Joy, are you there? And you hear, yeah. Ask your question, get your answer. But now for business people, I think the record is 49 pages, 9 hours, Australian who rocked it, got all their answers and so on. You can ask, well, hey, who are the 30 people I should call for my business? When should I call and get specific detailed like coaching for each person, and especially the entry point? What's their pain point? And then you're offering a solution. You hear the lingo you should use, the key phrase that will help them out. You're doing your job, you're passionate about it, you're offering a proper service. They have a need, and you helping them would be a good thing. So it's 1 + 1 = 11. But you get those 30 names, and here's my point about having all the answers in the world. It's fantastic. It's really good. Do it. For Americans, that's all we want is our answers, especially in this day and age. But for the salesperson, if they get the 30 names, they're going to run out of those names pretty quickly, because a good salesperson is going to blow through those 30 names or follow the instructions. Call 6 of them on Thursday, 10 of them on Friday, and by a week and a half later, they're out of names. They got to go back to the well. They should ask angels again. And so what I'm trying to say is you can have all the answers in the world, and if it's just a regular human being living a regular human life, their situation changes 6 months later, a year later. So maybe the same answers from before are no longer feeling as supportive or as detailed, and we want more answers. So you can go back to the well. You can go back to the universe. You can ask your angels and guides anytime you want for more instruction, more hints, more direct suggestions on steps to take. And that's what's so beautiful. But here's where I'm going with having all the answers in the world. I'm not knocking it. It's a very truly unique service that even the automatic writing crowd, they can get it to you, but here you're meeting the actual figures. Thousands and thousands of angels, Mary, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Plato, Marcus Aurelius, St. Francis, Steve Jobs, Mother Teresa, Rama, Sri Kaleshwar, Ganesh. It goes on and on. It's 170 plus figures with me, even though it's more in the 400s if you count all the other angels that have come and gone and so on. Fairies exist, a jinn exists, light beings exist, and you can do full-on seeing as well. So here's all I'm trying to say is take it easy on all of this. It's a lot to allow for. Static photos. Historical photos can move and wink and smile. Meet Audrey Hepburn, an angel. But that static photo can wink, smile, shoulder waggle. People have gotten the movement in a static photo a dozen different ways. Same thing with Sai Baba's photo, the one from 110 years ago, 1910 or so. Total miracle worker, tight with angels. You can get the smell of an Indian jungle or incense from a sacred temple. Incense, the smell is beyond anything you could purchase on Amazon or at any crystal shop in the country. So what I'm again trying to describe is the universe is really big, it's shiny, it's infinite. We're not used to asking or allowing for any of this, or allowing for help 24/7, or allowing for angel wisdom, not just getting direct answers the way we think we should be asking questions. They're here to help us on the curve out of thinking up into more awareness, more consciousness, more loving, more kindness, less harm, less violence. It's not something that happens overnight. This could all happen in 3 hours for all of mankind. I cheated one time. I asked the big picture question. I said, how fast could humanity get quick on the uptake or the upload here, or get jiggy with it? Just getting to our hearts more and becoming a whole new species where violence is a little less desirable, where we kind of work things out faster. I heard 3 hours. Now it's probably going to be likely more like 30 years or something, but for those who are willing to pay attention, you can walk a smoother path. That's essentially what this video is about. You want to become an architect, and right now you're working at this type of restaurant or that type of shop or this type of place, or you don't have a job. You can go in any direction you want. Do you have the guts? And it takes a lot of guts to allow for any of this. Do you have the guts to go full stop thinking, woe is me, my situation is blah, 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 looping, spinning, going in circles, eddies if it's a river analogy, you're stuck behind that rock, going in circles. Happens to us all. Happens to us all, even if you've met 30 angels, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, and you've walked with them in human form. It doesn't matter how much you've let go last week, a year ago, you still have to be able to get back to your heart occasionally to live more, love more, allow more, and also take your steps on your unique life path. So you can have all your answers. You can get hugs that can become consciousness, waves of compassion supporting you. You get teary-eyed, you yawn, you get healing. You feel it at a cellular level. Let the quantum physics crowd absorb that. You can have your cake, eat it too, no calories, own the bakery, distribute cakes, every cake equals a smile, own the trucking fleet, jet fleet, and distribute cakes worldwide, because whatever your unique life path is about, that unique personal treasure that the alchemist talks about, when you're doing this, you're shining, other people feel it. Instead of being this tight little string or dental floss of life that no one wants to be near, you're the opposite. You're the person that everybody comes to and they start crying on your shoulder with their problems because they feel how light you got. But back to where I was going. When you're flowing and your presence expands, your love, you're connected to your higher self. You can meet your soul, hear your soul, you already do it. But you can do it more in a more pronounced fashion. You can see your soul or higher self in the sky as sort of an aurora borealis, daytime. If you've gotten your answers, gotten your hugs, and seen angels, you can do that. No big deal. So what I'm trying to do here is kind of paint what I will call a Disney picture. Not a lot of us have time for an animated film or something that's upbeat, sparkly, and I'm talking old school Disney from the 80s or 70s or classic Disney. You can be more happy. You can enjoy more happiness. You can enjoy more satisfaction just being and breathing and experiencing what you experience in life. You can have your cake and eat it too. You can go in any direction, be more loving, more carefree, more caring, more creative, more enthusiastic, more appreciative, more allowing, showing gratitude. You can start to bring in more of whatever direction you want to go. Manifesting is such a big word. Just allow for the possibility that the whole way the universe works is one thing. It's not the way you think it is, because it's not about thinking. That's the one thing. It's all beyond our grasp. You could try to spend 2 years grasping any point or portion of what I'm talking about, but if you still haven't taken the step for 15 seconds to be like, hey, Geronimo, what do I need to know right now? Listen and get your answer. Hey, Joy, an angel who's the emotion joy. What do I need to know? Can I get my answer? And get a hug. That's all this is. I've met more people in the last 10 or 12 years, maybe 12,000 people, And they've all been super swell to even speak with me. So I'm very appreciative of that. There's probably only 20 to 400 people that I know who would be willing to speak with me 3 times in a row and meet angels this way. There's a good 40 or 50, especially in the last 5 years, who stay in touch. So I'm super fortunate for that. It's been a little bit of a lonely job this way because it's such a shock that angels could exist, videos or photographs of angels, guides, your relatives. And then when you meet them, the portion of you that thinks says, whoa, what's going on here? You want to have a little reaction. And then you want to shut down for a little while to block so much love and compassion. And so I like all the no's and the rejection, and I'm not kidding. I think it's around 6,000 to 8,000 no's rejection because it's helped me grow more personally. A thicker skin, better sense of humor, although I don't know about that. I smile more though, and I'm hopefully allowing more, and I'm just growing more. All of us are growing all the time, whether you know it or not. And the more we resist it, the more it's a painful type of growth. You can just simply experience growth, expansion, awareness in a much more gentle way. The equivalent of taking a breath. So, and I've gotten plenty of yeses, so I'm very thankful for that as well. But things keep unfolding in a bigger fashion, and also in what people can experience. So people can see a ball of light, pink ball of light here, and have it pass through 2 screens. Again, I blow sage. They smell it in Australia, Germany, Canada, New Zealand. I've done that on shows. Audience members watching the same taped show 2 months later smell the sage. All I'm trying to point out is that time and space, our limits, aren't quite what we think they are, because it's not about thinking. The second you realize that thinking is a limiting, controlled, like a lens on a camera, or a snapshot. It's a one-time snapshot that doesn't mean much. I mean, if you have to like check something like the oil in your car, do the dipstick thing. You checked it. But in life and everything else, once that dipstick is back in there and you've checked the oil, everything's changed all over again. Life is constant change. It's constant love. And that's where your opportunity, instead of resistance and difficulty, this is where your opportunity lies. Take a breath on this. Let it all go in a second, because if you've agreed with anything in this video, let that go as well. Your ego's gonna want to say one of the top 10 lines, besides my problem is, my situation is, you don't understand my problem. Your ego might be kicking in now saying, oh, Michael, he's right on this. He's right. We'll start next week. That's another top 10 line. And you even write down, I'm going to do this next week. There's only right now. Take a breath on everything. Ask angels that you haven't even met to come in and just give you a hug. If you happen to be intuitive, or you happen to be a good sports, yoga, music person, you just trust your awareness in some form or fashion. It's not about a particular department or compartment of your life. If you're fantastic at golf and you hit a hole-in-one every other stroke, you're that good. That type of letting go, or just to fall asleep at night, brush your teeth, vacuum when you're happy, that type of letting go is the amount or the degree or the level of difficulty we're talking about. To go from here to get to here. Stretch, yawn, smile, give yourself a break. It's not about forced thinking or this step before that step. I have one bit of structure. Equivalent of a Boy Scout, Girl Scout pledge. Ask angels to help you out of your head into your heart. That's it. That's my only bit of structure. I often forget to tell people this. I forgot to tell you until like minute 50. But angels, help me out of my head into my heart, and then fill in the blank. Just to have a great rest of the day, to be more awareness, love, kindness to myself and others. Just help me out of my head into my heart. Thank you. To listen better, to pay attention more, to get a hug, to see. If you're having trouble on some aspect, to smell the sage, go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Michael Andre Ford. See all the different sage smoke videos and smell the sage. Some people taste it on their mouth. They're thinking so much about the smell, or their smelling's been reduced because of COVID or something else. They taste it instead. But even if your nose has been blocked, you can ask for that nose to get cleared out. Not everything's written. Something in Texas is called cedar fever. If you want to have that lifted off of you, you can ask an angel to ask how many hugs you have to ask for. 7 hugs, 20 hugs, 50 hugs. If I took 2 random people off the streets, they both have cedar fever. They're both willing to get it taken off of them because they don't want to have cedar fever anymore. It's a miserable experience. One person may need only 7 hugs because they're loosey-goosey and they're ready to go, and they just happen to be good at letting go and letting angels do their job. So they ask for 7 hugs in a row and they get cleared out. Another person might be 50 times they have to ask for hugs because they're a little tighter and in control of how their faculties work. And there are some people that it might be 1,000 hugs they've got to go through. So the real question is, what are you willing to allow for? What are you willing to ask for? Do you want to stay locked up tight for 20 years? Are you really happy? Are you really doing everything you could be doing in life? It's that army slogan, be all you can be. Are you really following your unique life path? Or are you following sort of the societal thing? A lot of stress, sleepless nights. You're burning your candle at both ends. That's what this is really about. And the second you realize you can get out of burning your candle at both ends, you can focus on your candle and your flame a little bit better. And then you're going to realize that your candle is very infinite and that you can light everybody else's candle with no effort whatsoever. Hello, a wave, rainbow light, consciousness, universal love, connecting to all there is, and simply by placing or flickering your focus in a certain direction, there you're going to go. It's going to quickly turn into a Dr. Seuss book, a Disney film, one of those samurai movies, or one of those woo-woo spiritual classics. I don't know how else to describe this to you, but there's an amazing adventure waiting to happen if you'll simply pay attention this much more, do 7% less thinking each week, and trust that you already have it all here. You merely have to dip your toe into the pool. Let's do a final metaphor. It's like a pool party. You get invited to one. You might not even have brought the bathing suit, or you're awkward around a group of people. Or like me, you're the type that when they get into the pool an hour later, you're only up to your ankle. You're not sure. It's not the warmest pool. You're not totally comfortable with everything. And so what I'm here to try to pass along is that's what this is all going to feel like. You're listening to another human being right now try to describe something that's just beyond the scope of thinking or grasping. But one way or the other, everything I'm talking about through synchronicity. You thought of the person and they texted you, or they contacted you, or they emailed, or they called. In sports, when you were just having the best time ever, time slowed up or sped up. You could see all the defensive players and you just got around them and scored the goal. Art, you normally paint in 3 hours, but you did it in an hour and a half and it was the best painting you've ever done. You were also on cloud 9. And I could keep going on and on and on and on and on. And then there's all the opposite examples where you were stressed out, crying, stressed. You reacted to a driver who basically did nothing. They didn't wave you through the stop sign like they normally would, and you reacted. So welcome to the different flows of you. If you've had any resistance, any reacting to anything I've said, or to what Eckhart Tolle says, he goes and does a symposium or he watches videos, and an audience member steps up with a piece of paper and says, at minute 3:30, you said this, I disagree with what you said. Welcome to meeting your ego. I look at a lot of the comments I get on the YouTube channel and I start laughing because you can't tell anybody anything. If they want to catch themselves, thousands of people have already done this. If you want to pay attention, pay attention. If you don't, the beautiful thing about free will is you can do absolutely anything. There's consequences for everything, and there's a way that your energy flows, whether it's negativity or positivity, that generates more of the same. It's the hot stove thing. There's a lot of people running around hand on a hot stove, thinking that a hot stove is somehow a good idea. More power to them. I wouldn't want to tell them a single thing that would change their thinking if they're not wanting to listen. And that's okay. They're living their life the best they know how, to the fullest they know how. They're doing the best they can. And you can wish them well. And I heard something that was incredible earlier in the year. I think it was Teresa Shant's episode 5 of my Angels, Positivity, and Love show. She said, when you pray or suggest like high vibes, love, you're trying to send it to someone else, send it to their angel crew. They'll know how to distribute it better. That way you're not interfering with the other person. And I love that. If you want to send positive vibes, love, everything is love if you want to pay attention to that. If you want to go at a lower vibration down the scale, you're going to do it. So this whole video is a reminder that you have no limits. You can get any answers to any questions anytime you want from an invisible but not so invisible crew that's ready to step in. You have your own angel team, relatives, guides who are ready to assist and give you any level of detail. More importantly, you're just going to get some hugs. And you're going to get better at the hugs. The very first hug might be a goosebump here, a yummy in the tummy, a whoosh down the back, but you can get a wind in the room. You can ask for Hawaii, an ocean smell. Done that on shows last year, this year. You can ask for Hawaii to come to you and you just feel better. You can get full-on healing. It's a lot to grasp. Check out the website for photos of angels, for a photo of Play-Doh, for photos of fairies. Check out my YouTube channel for the videos of angels. I think we had an angel come by at minute 28 and 30 seconds in this video. I'll spot that and try to clip it. My YouTube channel at Michael Andre Ford is fantastic for lots of different content. The Explore More series is a lot of talks like this. I've launched a new YouTube channel that's called 247 Angel Wisdom. So that's 24/7 Angel Wisdom. So it's youtube.com/@247 Angel Wisdom. Please subscribe, please like, please share this, please enjoy it first and foremost, and please comment with something positive. What did you discover out of all this? Did you just see the angel light? Were you willing to put your hand up, close your eyes, and ask for an angel to touch your hand? If you focus too much on your hand, you'll get it on your back. You'll get a goosebump here. There's 1 million ways to feel a hug, just as there are 1 million ways to let go, to get out of here, to get to here. If it's about words, concepts, principles, structure, better not do this, better not do that, odds are it's everything from the neck up, it's resistance. Keep it simple, ask for support. You don't even have to know what you're going to ask for. If you don't want to listen to angels, fine. Spend a year or two not listening. But trust that they're there, trust that you're heard, trust that you can put things in motion simply by asking one way. Just trust more. It's faith, religious, non-religious faith. It's called letting go of this to be more here and to tap what you've already got and the way the universe works. That's all this is paying attention to the real happenings of the universe. So put out to the universe, talk out loud as you walk around your living room. You don't even have to talk out loud, but do it in the shower. Do it on a walk. Talk to the trees. Trees can talk back to you. Everything is alive with consciousness more than you'll ever realize. And you'll know it when you get to the other side, but that's a little too late to do the human thing here. So one way it's the Winnie the Pooh quote. Everyone talks to animals, no one listens. And the quote goes on to say, that's the problem. And I would add, that's the problem, sure, but that's also the opportunity. And that's the opportunity before all of us. It was the point of this video. You can go in any direction, experience any level of success. Just learn how to get out of your own way. Out of the brain, out of the head, out of thinking, out of unconsciousness, into the heart to experience more love, more happiness, more connection to all, and get your answers, get your hugs, see full on. If it has to be 25 houses away, fine. If it's your backyard, fine. If you want to meet an angel full on for a cup of tea, only a few folks have done that I know of. In human form, you could get that done too, but it takes a really bold person. That's 1 out of 1,000,000, 1 out of 1,000 at this point. But take my challenge on for that. Okay, check out the photos of angels, check out the videos, check out the guests who take these steps before you. I've started a ton of shorts on YouTube where I hold up a photo of an angel, Play-Doh, fairy, or I blow some sage, and you can participate. They're very short. You might have to play it a few times. You might have to pause it at some point. If you have any difficulty on it, don't beat yourself up. Go for a walk, let go, drink a glass of water. There's 1 million ways to learn properly how to let go. Check out Listening to Angels, that $5, $4.99 book at Amazon, amazon.com/author/angels. I've also started to release clips, audio clips of Glow Stick Zen, and also Listening to Angels in audio form, just a couple pages where I've got a Australian female voice doing the reading. It's much faster that way than me trying to tape my voice and do 50 takes. So I appreciate your patience on that. But over time, I've found that I actually like having a neutral voice read to me as I'm going about my time at the house. I still listen to my own material because it's angels. There's very little that I'm saying to you right now that didn't come straight from angels over the last 10 to 12 years. Thank you very much for your time today. Be sure to subscribe, share, like, and please put some comments down for the portions that you've enjoyed or what you've experienced since watching this video. You're helping others tremendously. Thank you again. This is Michael Andre Ford, your American Angel Intuitive. I help people let go to meet, feel, hear, and see angels, guides, past over relatives, pets. That's full on seeing, full on answers, but you really don't need me. You can get started right now in your own way, letting go. Make that journey bigger, more fun, more sparkly. Thank you again.